Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GLL Grand Slam PUBG Classic. It's now about 7:24 here in Stockholm, Sweden, so it's going to start getting dark, and we're hopefully going to see some dark performances from our 16 teams from across 4 regions looking to compete for the lion's share of $300,000. My name is Parla, still joined by Steve and Patrick. And by the way, if you ever wanted to see C9 take a shower together, you're in luck.
What? Wait, what? Tell me more.
Well, we're going to see it in a second, guys. I don't want to like reveal too much too soon, so I think that should be ready.
All right.
How's it going, guys? Hey guys, how's it going, guys? Hey guys, hey guys. It's the embryotic stage of this whole process, and then you get birthed into Grand Slam on Friday. Trophy seems to have the best grasp of the way this alien technology works.
I was just running.
You were just running?
I tried to, at least.
Look at that, wow, he's doing a real, whoa, okay. Whoa, whoa! That was impressive. It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Do you feel like it's going to help you guys in the competition?
For sure.
Yeah.
Easy rotations from now.
Easy rotations. What do you think of Shrimsy when he jumped in?
Oops. Oops.
All right. And he went in the sauna. I think he's still in the sauna now, like drying off. So.
That's a good thing.
We try to mix it up here at GLL.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hey man, welcome to the sauna. Parla.
Your favorite city is Impala.
I know, yeah.
You've heard that one.
Yeah, heard that one. Made that joke on stream myself. See you on the other side.
This is not GLL content.
Get us back. Team bonding.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Violated.
Should we play a game? How many guys can we fit in the shower?
Take the wet stuff.
Oh shit! What's up, Shrimsy?
Oh, you guys smell.
This is team bonding for sure.
Oh. All right, guys. Guys, what's the plan going into this? You can't both paddle on the same side. This is it. They're off for the rest of their life. They're now one with the sea, the ocean. Guys, you have to paddle on opposite sides. Like right, left, right, left.
What if I pee myself right now?
All right. So what was going on between your paddleboard and the other one over there?
We're just trying to make some content because all these stick-in-the-mud Europeans won't get in the water, do anything. They're all just sitting around, on the veranda doing nothing.
I'll go if you go.
100%.
Don't put this on me.
Yeah.
If you get on and go out there, I'll get a wetsuit and I'll swim out there.
No. You hear this? Because I'll get on right now. I'll take my shoes off and hop on that bitch right now. If you would get a wetsuit and come out.
He'll hop on that bitch right now.
Yes, I will. 100%.
You ain't hopping on no. Are you gonna get in the water? Will it swim? No.
Europeans are zero fun.
I'm gonna run, make a run to the hardware store.
Let's go.
Hey! So American. Oh God. And there they go, guys. Off to find their way to the sea. It's emotional saying goodbye.
Over at the hardware store.
Yep. Did you guys enjoy the sauna, Cloud9? Yeah? You didn't. I thought you looked relatively comfortable with your boys in there, and it was nice to have a chat with you. I can't remember, we are going to focus in on Cloud9, but just a side note quickly. I can't remember if Microfi did in fact hop on that, I'm going to say paddleboard.
Yeah,
because
that's the American name for paddleboard.
the word he used was not right for broadcast. But yeah, lovely day. Anyway, Cloud9, let's talk about these boys not having the tournament that they've wanted to so far. They really needed to come into day 2 all guns blazing, and to an extent, they did that. But maybe not enough, Steve.
You know, K-Mine was the top damage dealer in the NPL, and here, I mean, these guys are sitting in 14th place right now. Sure, today they've more than doubled their points from yesterday already, but it doesn't seem like it's enough. And I know that they have to be just as disappointed as the fans back in the States are. They expect a lot better from themselves.
I mean, we all expect more from them. Coming in today, they did show up a little bit better. They did frag out a little bit, got some good placements, but it's not holding up right now. Let's look at the last 2 games, for example. 15th place, first 1 kill, 10th place, 3 kills. That doesn't cut the...
Honestly, it feels like a breakdown in communication happening somewhere right now. I don't know where that broken link is in the chain. It doesn't matter. We're in an international tournament. It's their job to sit down as a group, say, forget about anything that's happened, old things under the rug. Let's get together, let's play, let's listen to the IGL, and let's make the shots when they're called.
I mean, still have 8 games to go, so still not too late to do something about it.
Absolutely.
Is it 8 or including this one, it's going to be 8, exactly. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is our penultimate game of the day. We're ready to get into it. Let's head over to our casters.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm WTF Moses, joined by Matchroom, and we are getting ready for the next game. They were just chatting about Cloud9. Now, we see these guys a lot. We cast the NPL, so we watch them dominate game in and game out. They had a very nice showing last time. But really, all the NA teams right now have just been playing differently. Even it's not just about the difficulty, which it is a very difficult game to play right now. But Matt, it's just they don't seem like themselves in some ways.
See, I figured it out. We just found out in that last video, apparently too much trash talk happened around the paddleboard area.
Oh, yeah.
And they pissed off everybody in EU, and now EU is like, nope, that's it. We're just going to kill all the Americans due to this.
What I learned by watching that video is I'm strangely attracted to K-Mind.
That should be no surprise. You cast the NPL. Cloud9, best hair of all PUBG teams,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, I mean, just looking at the way the last game played out, I know that Liquid was not happy to discover that the Rumblers were in the compound they wanted to take. And had Liquid been successful in taking that compound, they would have potentially won that game, but it ended up being G2, who, again, just blew up with 14 total kills plus the win. And this is now becoming the tale of the top teams, is that they're getting those high kill wins, and it's driving them way up the leaderboard. But we are getting ready for the next game. And Matt, what is going to be the key here, Miramar? We're going pretty much through the middle of the map.
Positioning, man. Positioning. Stop taking these fights along the edges if you do not have to. I know everybody is after those kill points right now. We're seeing several teams just sacrifice position repeatedly just to try to net a kill or two, then not get the kills, and then get decimated as they're coming into the circle lane. I want to see a little bit more aggression, a little bit more teams just trying to take control of the center, because again, like you're saying, it's those top teams repeatedly aware of where these last couple of circles are going to be at. You have this sixth sense. You know what I'm talking about, Moses.
Yeah,
if you play enough, you just kind of know where it's going to go.
Yeah, and I mean, with the circle, it can go where you think it's going to go, but if depending on what your position is, it might not matter if that's going to be a bonus or not. In Cloud9's case, we expected it to go a little bit south, but they just waited a little too long, and they ended up getting pushed out of the zone with SSG, and then SSG ended up falling to the same fate. Athletico, however, in rotation, they got taken down. A lot of top teams went down really early.
Well, I think that's kind of the nature of the beast that can happen with Miramar here or there. But meanwhile, you can see Cloud9 making a little bit of, doing a little bit of looting. Looks like Tempo Storm has had to make an adjustment. They're not going over towards Impala, their normal homes. They're going back down next to Valdemar. So Cloud9, no surprise, picking up vehicles in heavy rotation already.
So with C9, they're going to find themselves again centered. They're basically going to run back the same strategy. Checking in with them.
Well, they're just pushing back over next to Hacienda. This is where they always like to go, naturally secure those vehicles, get those early spots, net a little bit of loot off of it. And then now, this is one of those interesting things that happens with a couple of teams, especially the early rotators such as like Cloud9. Whenever you end up being in center of the circle, where do you go next? Where do you want to make that adjustment to?
Let's check in with them and see what they have to say about the early game.
As a team, we like research like where most people go, and we try to give ourselves the most like advantages like spot. So like being in the middle of the circle is probably good. So we're prepared for all those circles and we study up. So that's pretty much it.
Early game strategy is such an important part of this game, and they're going to find themselves near a center with H-Win basically bang on in a little compound to hold on to. Ghost Gaming finding themselves in another good position. Ghost just unfortunately could not put together a high kill placement last time. They did get that second place, but in this difficult game, in this difficult environment, you need to stack kills if you're getting high placement.
I mean, to be fair, we have several teams from North America that are in the top 8. It's just not really what a lot of people were expecting moving into this. Like having a little bit of expectation of having better days. I feel like today for North America, it's just been generally pretty rough. Sure, they can get placements, but it's just like you're talking about. We haven't seen any very high kill games coming out of North America. Meanwhile, EU, I gotta say, they're showing up. We've had FaZe have a couple of good games today. Naturally, G2 just had a great performance in that last round.
Listen, I did a lot of trash talk before this tournament started, Matt, and I really feel like my vicarious living through our NA teams is not coming to fruition right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to eat like many shoes in order to make up for this if they don't pull it together. So a desperate plea from us right now, NA teams, is get it together.
I especially love how production keeps running the trash talk video of North America versus EU, not the EU versus North America one, just so that way we look worse every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I've been super impressed watching G2. I remember watching them at the qualifiers in Minsk not that long ago. They dominated there, and they have continued to show just how high power they are, and especially behind Chris, as well as actually the entire team, Braceco as well, has been an absolute monster. And with G2, I don't know how you attack this team in the late game when they're fully rolling. They just seem like they are unstoppable sometimes.
Well, we were hearing it a little bit earlier. Chris seems to be a big factor inside of this. Never seems to see a fight he does not want to take, and I love seeing that. That's a level of confidence in your aim, in your positioning, and in your teammates whenever you're just like, I can get away with getting these shots off. I can kill you, and I know I can do it. And that kind of feeds into the G2 mindset, I want to say, where you see that last round, they were just spreading all over the southern part of those circles, just fighting anything that moved and was winning every fight.
Map control is so important, especially in the late game circles. Looking at the way FaZe has set themselves up, they are, looting away in Monte Nuevo, but that long sweeping north rotation we expected last game just did not happen. And here it's going to be even more difficult. They've got Spacestation Gaming in their way, Na'Vi ending up on the northern side of the map with Pittsburgh Knights in a position to camp any rotations. Reels is in a nice spot to spot anyone coming through that Death Valley area, as Hector is upside down, unfortunately. They're going to have to find themselves a new vehicle. The Murado not equipped with a hydraulic jack.
And he's actually the tail end of SSG, so that means, oh, well, hey, thanks, Extreme. Let's just go ahead and make this a full-on party. Meanwhile, Incognito having a couple of shots thrown at them from K-Mine, trying to get a little bit of damage off over there. Incognito doing a rotation out and away from Athletico at the time, trying to find a little bit of a spot that they can call home. Meanwhile, Team Liquid going to bump into Singularity as a spray towards Ibiza is going to come out, but looks like Team Liquid could be able to get away from this. Yep, Jimty's just going to drop over the other side of that hill.
Something we might have seen again is Liquid come to a stop here and try and contain Singularity out in the open. And here's Athletico doing themselves a favor, bounce that vehicle back onto all four, and off they will go as SSG has gone back to collect Hetror.
Vengeance from last game. Team Liquid looking back down towards Singularity, standing out in the open. Jean's going to take the shots, and that's one already down as Pome is just going to get flushed. But retaliation shots do come back onto it to get the down to Jean.
That was a really nice stop there from Liquid. They knew that Singularity was going to be in the open here. They do have James down, I believe, and yes, Singularity is going to have a bit of hard cover to work with, but they will lose a man quickly, and they might lose two here.
Ibiza's in a nice reposition point where he can take some shots back down there, but look, it's gonna be FaZe raining in an extra little bit of damage. Jean's just trying to make it back on the other side of that hill, but look, a long rotation coming out from the rest of FaZe's. AT looks like he wants to get back behind this. Singularity finding themselves caught out again by Team Liquid, so they get the down off of that, but here comes AT off on the side.
This is EU versus EU right now. Singularity, they did some good damage, and that is giving FaZe the upper hand in the third party. Mixie is gonna send it straight in. They want Liquid out of this game ASAP. This would be a massive deal for them to take them out nice and early.
This is the fear of almost everybody in the lobby, is whenever FaZe starts to feel they can start taking these fights, they're getting more comfortable in the rankings so that way they can just let the aggression out, do these 2-point pushes off to the side in the early game. And Team Liquid already on the back foot trying to figure out how they're going to handle this, had to surrender the high ground.
Liquid is only 10 points ahead of FaZe, so if FaZe can get them out here early, or if Liquid can continue to find these issues in the early game, FaZe could easily jump over Athletico, only 3 points behind them. And already Athletico, speaking of which, is going to lose 2 to Incognito.
Couple of shots going back and forth as Letco getting that damage back over. YK Kamukal gets taken down. Inside looks like he's trying to make it back over here.
They're not there.
Teammate. There's nowhere to go for them really, so they're just going to end back over here next to Cloud9. That's going to be 2 people lost.
Wow.
For Incognito very early. Well, actually, look at that reposition. Maybe they're trying to get a little bit of damage back off.
It's too late.
It's too long.
Yeah, way too late. And they had 2 down there. I wonder if Juxi was maybe by himself, but they did get 2 quick downs, but Athletico's going to recover. They're going to keep all 4.
nice position inside the circle as well, fairly close towards the center of the circle. G2 already making their movements back down in this direction as Incognito is now pincered between Athletico, G2, and Cloud9. Looks like Team Liquid still continuing their push out away from FaZe, is looking back down towards Red Canids. So now it looks like Team Liquid managed to figure out what they're wanting to do here and managing to regroup entirely.
Not sure if they want to take that fight. They might have heard the vehicles, but they've already been kind of battered. Maybe looking to maybe find some new gear if they can find somewhere to stop. But they've been rotating further and further south. They are not going to get center priority. And you can see they're so damaged. They're missing wheels, they're missing helmets, maybe even missing a couple of vests. They've been using their meds. Team Liquid will come to a stop in the center. Ghost Gaming finding themselves not having to move too far as the first circle closes. SSG has gone for a wide sweeping rotate with Na'Vi on the northern side along with G2.
Canids is actually running a 2-2 split on the other sides of La Bandita, giving themselves a lot of control over territory, but direct pushes from squads, maybe making their way back towards the center, could be a detriment if Team Liquid just decides to push back down, which Team Liquid's already lost one member. I wouldn't be surprised if they go, their 4-man squad goes, hey, we want that spot. Red Canids can find themselves losing 2 members very quickly.
Good vision here from the Rumblers, just outside of Picado. Tempo Storm basically by themselves. The closest to them would be Bitloft, but not within vision whatsoever. Tempo Storm, so well known for their early slower mid games.
Look at the control that G2 is starting to take over this circle towards the north of it. Very separated out. That's, again, that confidence, the feeling, the fact that they can go ahead and win a couple of fights. If they find themselves in a disadvantaged position, the rest of the team can come up and meet. Brexico keeps moving closer and closer to hell yeah, brother. But Incognito is going to take a couple of shots back over towards them, so might slow down the regroup as Brexico is going to have a couple of bullets thrown his way.
It's known, actually, I've learned this in speaking to some of the players, is that if they only hear one person shooting from a compound, they kind of think that maybe it's weak. So even though Brexico was kind of turned away, they might have an idea that maybe one of these spots is weak to push on, but they still have the zone priority, or they don't have priority in the zone right now. They're just outside of center. Meanwhile, the Knights on the other side are taking it to Cloud9 in rotation, and maybe they want to give chase here or just try and regroup.
This is a very brazen push coming out from several of these teams. Team Liquid, you can see, is just all stacked up together, and this is potentially a death trap for them. They have to be ridiculously cautious as they make these pushes through here, as, again, Team Liquid pushing very close towards the center.
They almost appear to be chasing the Red Canids, which is kind of scary in one vehicle, but they're going to drop 2 at the shack and just kind of wait it out for a little bit, but Bitloft is going to have some vision from there. Liquid has not been comfortable at any point in this game, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, just off of those early fights, you can see Red Canids coming up back behind them. Team Liquid was chasing one of their groups, but now it's the second group coming up back behind it, and that's taken a lot of damage. Team Liquid just forced to stay in the shack at this stage is not a good sign.
It's hard cover, but it's not good hard cover. They can have potential shot. Oh, that grenade came in pretty damn close. Doesn't do any damage, just lands just outside. And luckily, Red Canids is going to be forced back by Bitloft as Psycho wanted to get that high priority nade into the shack.
They're making the run.
And they're going to have to leave now in their Murado, and there's a lot of eyes looking at them. Everyone can see the smokes. So much attention coming their way, and they might be able to make it over to safety. They're going to bail up. Whoa, no! It's going to go down. Stampy's got to make a mad dash for it, and he's taking 50% HP. He's the last man standing for Liquid.
I mean, we saw them run back over. They knew they were in a bad spot, saying, okay, maybe I can get my other 2 teammates back over here. Doesn't quite manage to get away with it, but I mean, they still have 1 member up at this stage, and they're in a fairly decent spot where a couple of teams might be able to protect them. Meanwhile, Rumblers is just kind of raining in some damage on everybody that passes by, but I gotta say, Bitloft has been very impressive whenever they get into some of these middle game fights. It's just a matter of can they keep the members up and alive towards the late game.
Samty going out for the res. That's very dangerous. All of Bitloft is just firing into the smoke, but he's got 2 down teammates there, and if he can get those reses, the smoke is dissipating. They've got the rock, and they are almost naked here, and now it starts to dissipate now the res coming onto Ibiza. This would be massive if they can keep all 3.
It's going to take a lot of utility to get away from this spot. Naturally, having all 3 members back up, hopefully they have a ton of smokes to work with, but this isn't necessarily the safest place to make a run around as Samty does get knocked by Shrimzy off to the side of this. Team Liquid just cannot get the reses off.
Yeah, they're just uncomfortable, and now they're getting down by, oh no, FaZe in the back line. And meanwhile, this is, I believe, the last man from Red Canids. Oh no, Liquid goes down first, and Rasmu will follow in 15th place. Disaster again here for Team Liquid.
Incognito also loses 1 as Spacestation Gaming takes a couple of shots at them. I mean, you have to give it for Team Liquid. They were trying to keep their guys up and alive. They knew they were in a rough spot, but it was just an unrelenting push that they could never find a home.
it all started with Singularity in their first stage of that rotation. They kind of got forced out of their vehicles, came to a stop, took damage from third parties, all had to pile into one Murado, and now the circle will shift back towards the mines, which means the Rumblers have to move.
Are we seeing Singularity? Are they the Team Liquid kryptonite? Just Team Liquid needs to avoid them from this stage. Rumblers making a push back over to a building they know is empty based off of their scouting. FaZe on the move as well, going to be following back behind them.
Where does FaZe go here?
Not a lot of good options, as it's starting to just turn into a gauntlet of teams that are just stacked up. Not a lot really. Everybody's still just kind of clustered towards the center right now.
I think FaZe is going to want to rotate more to the the western side, as there's going to be so much pressure on the mines. They know that's a loot spot of Ghost Gaming. Pittsburgh Knights been there. Cloud9 is going to have vision, and the Rumblers just took a compound in front of them, so they can get through the Bendita crater, maybe make something happen. But really, all that pressure, Matt, is going to be on the right-hand side of the new circle.
Incognito trying to figure out where they're wanting to go as well. Not a lot of good options for them to work with. They are kind of on the right idea, assuming that a lot of the players are back over towards the center. So with this, they're going to be able to survive for a while, as there's not a lot of people back on that western part of Minas Generalis. Meanwhile, we still have G2, Spacestation Gaming, Tempo Storm, all on the move right now, trying to find somewhere that they can call home as well.
Tempo Storm still moving around. Athletico, they've just been kind of hanging out right now. They don't have any reason to move, as it's a bit of a lull in here in the mid-game, as everyone's trying to find their way, especially on the right-hand side of the map.
Well, really, the center of the map is kind of like a beehive right now. As long as you don't kick it by driving through that location, you should be pretty okay to play along the edges. The problem comes into play is if it keeps going towards the circle. These edge teams are going to find themselves in a very rough predicament of trying to figure out how to make it through all of these teams that have opted into the early center strategies. You can see G2, Na'Vi, looks like also Space Station Gaming, all going to be forced to play right along the edges. FaZe still on the hunt, going to be moving back through Rumblers. But now you can see FaZe looks like they've decided to stop right across this hillside. Looking back down, they might be able to spot out Rumblers and do a little bit of an exchange with them back off to one side. Naturally, it's going to be all about how everybody's going to get line of sight and visions, and how everybody really wants to make a play off of their present positions.
G2 just kind of taking a look forward at Na'Vi. Grenades come out.
We're at that stage, Moses. It's going to be grenades galore, as everybody's going to start being within touching distance of each other. That's kind of one of the things about Miramar. There's all these little sneaky little paths that you can take and creep around on. You can see Hell Yeah Brother trying to opt into one as Baja's throwing grenades back over towards Kush. Meanwhile, on the other side of it, it's going to be G2 taking a couple of shots. It's Chris, rings out, gives away his position, has to instantly drop back down. But keep in mind, Space Station Gaming and G2 are right on the edge of the circle. Everybody's trying to make their way through. Look at the blue coming up and starting to touch Space Station Gaming now, as they're just being herded back over towards G2.
G2 is in a bit of a rough spot, and now Valiant's going to take down Chris. He had a grenade in his hand, and he's likely going to die with it in his hand as well, as Valiant will finish him off. But again, Space Station Gaming finds themselves in the blue, trying to fight their way forward, with Hell Yeah Brother on the outside looking towards them. Kaint is back there as well. He's likely going to try and get a med off, but Space Station Gaming has no cover in front of them. They just have not been managing their position effectively, Matt.
I mean, Hell Yeah Brother on one side, G2 on the other, already out in the blue. Got to be very, very careful from here on out. Looks like they don't have a lot of utility they can really work with. Grenade's going to come out long range. Baja's already running away from him and going to narrowly avoid what could have been a disaster.
Kaint on the motorcycle is going to leave.
Oh no, but look, G2, they're pushing out away from this and now making their way over next to Na'Vi. Na'Vi's already going to opt into a move, so there's going to be a narrow miss coming out for them. Meanwhile, Athletico trying to make their way back over towards this angle, as Knights are going to take a couple of shots back down towards them, as everything is condensing down around Minas Generalis, and Brexico's going to get taken down by Vestalov. So with this, Bitloft is now made a push back over towards it. Cloud9 already playing along this building. Looks like they've managed to get themselves into a nice position. But look how many different people have already set up. Wins on the other side of Bitloft. Doesn't have a good sight line back over for it, though.
This is going to be a difficult push inside here. Cloud9 is going to commit to it. Looks like Bitloft is going to get K-Mine down first. Big loss for them. And now it's going to be a defensive nade from Bitloft. Nerf is going to be forced on the outside. And Sizzlin will go down to another nade. So really, Matt, this is going to be a very, very intense interior battle.
Ragnar's trying to hit a couple of shots, does manage to take down Profi. Nerf is still dancing around on the outside of this. I believe we're down to a 1v2 as, wins back on the other side as well. So Nerf just trying to figure out where that last member is as all these little shots are going off. G2 is trying to collapse just to the north of this, where Ghost is having a fight at. So there's so many small skirmishes, it's hard to figure out exactly where people could be at. And Ragnar is in a very sneaky little spot.
Just waiting now, the last man standing for Bitloft. team's future right now on his back. But Cloud9 is not really moving around too much. I think they're just kind of waiting for any footsteps, any audio information. Nerf creeping forward.
Looks like
he might have the spot if he continues to peek, but Nerf, man, I think Cloud9 a little bit in their own heads right now. They've been getting punished in these situations so frequently.
They're just trying to play it as safe as possible, but the problem with it is, with all these different teams that are moving around and taking aggressive positions next to them, they have to be ridiculously cautious. Finally, Ragnar is spotted. Gonna step up into that, but Nerf's gonna go ahead and take the shots back over towards him. Looks like FaZe has managed to bump into Tempo Storm, though.
Uba stepping over, he's looking all around. He knows they're around, but he's spotted down, guys. Gonna get the flush there. Zampa appears through the smoke, and there he goes. Tempo Storm falls to FaZe.
6 kills already for FaZe at this early stage of the game. And they've got Rumblers just on the other side of them. Did Rumblers hear this fight? And yes, they did. Los looking back over towards Fuzzface, but cannot connect with enough shots to do anything. Athletico, meanwhile, sees the other side of Rumblers and taking some shots at them, so it is just a third party on a third party all over this map right now. 8C trying to sneak up. Get close enough for this grenade.
Oh,
and he curves
that's
back
right in the
over there.
pocket.
Could be really big. It's going to roll up the hillside, though, with this Rumblers now aware. It is going to be potential disaster for them. They have to step back up next to FaZe. Gonna spot out 8C,
Nice.
go for the spray with it, but they do lose one in that exchange.
Nice little step up there. 8C goes down in the foreground. Uba's on the back line. He's got that mini at the ready, but the Rumblers aren't giving them any peeks over the top. 8C now going to take a nice shot and take down Los HD. We've seen so many times how when the Rumblers lose Los, it always falls apart. And now Waldo forced back into the smoke, and Godspeed going for the res. This is all the time that FaZe needs. Looks like Fuzzface wants to step up. He's going to take some shots. Mixie's in the foreground. Only Waldo left.
Now Waldo playing along the smokes, trying to spot him out through the edges, trying to use the hillside, but Waldo just has nowhere to go as FaZe pushes it up to 10 kills as Rumblers gets eliminated.
10 kills with 10 teams left remaining. We're at the 20-minute mark. That is amazing for them this game, and we talked about it. Liquid went down early. They're 1 point behind. They could jump into first place position.
So here we go. Knights holding a defensive position as Navi is running through. One member already down and flushed. So with this, Navi's got to figure out what do they do next. Keep in mind, Circle starting to come in just a couple of seconds back behind them. Knights has the inside track on it, but Navi's trying to reposition back down along that eastern part of the circle. They still have Hell Yeah Brother back behind him.
A really nice shots from Senya there. He's going to take down Vasily, and that's going to be, the Knights continuing to pick away. Senya's going to have to turn his attention away from that nice little kill that he could have had, but a doozy is down to Pittsburgh, and that means Drayden's going to go for the finish, looking for that last shot. He will get it. And that's going to mean now that Na'Vi has to face off with Pittsburgh.
Hell Yeah Brother has one member left right on the edge of the circle as it's pushing forward and nowhere to go. It's going to be so hard for Kush to be able to do anything. Look, he's just running out and in the open. FaZe Clan's looking off on a different angle, taking a couple of shots. As you can see, it is just turning out to be everybody that's moving a little bit late on that edge just has nowhere to go. Maybe Na'Vi can get away with something with these smokes.
Win and Nerf get downed by Athletico. That's going to be it for them. Meanwhile, Senya, the last man for Na'Vi, 1 kill only, and they are just inside the placement points, and that would be a sad consolation for a team that has not been having a strong day so far. And look at that long distance nade. One bounce, that was close, but just a little too far.
So with this, Na'Vi aware they're in a very rough predicament, still having to figure out where do we go. Not a lot of utility left to work with, just trying to peek back through the smokes. But now the blue is just right back behind him. All the Knights just raining down damage. There's nowhere for him to go.
Unfortunate turn of events there for Na'Vi, going down 8th place. Meanwhile, we've got Ghost Gaming. It's a replay from last game. They're in the circle. They're almost dead center, but they have not been. No, they got 5 kills. I take it all back.
Meanwhile, FaZe Clan just again taking control back down to the south. There's no teams that they have to worry about because they have killed everyone around them right now. So they have a lot of control, a lot of area to work with, but they're having to make their way. They're going to potentially have to push back over towards Minas in just a second, and that could be very dangerous with 18 people still alive.
Looking at the scoreboard, Matt, with all these players left alive and the placement points left, Ghost Gaming could actually jump potentially just behind Athletico, as there's a bit of a jumble. 20 points difference behind Athletico is Spacestation Gaming for that top 4 position. As, or that top 5 position, I should say. For Ghost, they're just kind of looking for angles. This is a very complicated area of the map, a lot of high and low, and the circle has gone a little bit further south. It's going to center up on Athletico.
And Athletico, I gotta say, have been having great games so far. They've really started to make a name for themselves, and I gotta say, are bringing a lot of respect to the region as well. They're playing a lot of really great games. They know how to play the position. They're playing angles very well, and they're having fairly high kill games whenever they get those good positions.
A lot of experience on that team as well. Zoidmate's been around for a long period of time. I used to run into him all the time on the North American servers. Shout out to that. As well as Extreme. He played in the NPL, and Luke 12, an absolute stunner of a prospect. He's been dazzling the entire tournament.
I mean, Luke and Zoid have been an absolute pleasure to watch at this stage. New circle pops, and it's going to be right on top of Athletico. You can see FaZe, they already got one member in there, but they do have a couple of people eyeing their position. Ronan's the last member for Incognito right now, so no surprise he wants to take that shot and give away his position. Singularity just to the north of them, trying to make the cross back over into the safe zone. Really, everybody seems to already have their own little safe spot except for Ronan.
He wants the two-tap. He wants to get the headshot and the follow-up right away. He's waiting for his opportunity. Any standing still from Mixie is going to result in a 7-6-2 round of the dome, but he's not going to get it, and he's got to move because the circle is now here, and he's got to go through FaZe. Well, not directly through, but he's got to go near FaZe. When you're near FaZe, Matt, you know it can be a problem.
You got to go back down that hillside, and there's just not a lot of cover. He's also going to potentially have to cross the road, which is going to be wide out in the open.
Ooh.
G2 trying to make their push back over there, but you can see Ghost very aware of their neighbors, trying to see if they can get something out of this. Even if they just get it down and they can burn off some armor or some helmets, anything could be influential for these next couple of fights.
Going to slow down a little bit. Like we said, it's a very complex area. There goes Ron, and he's trying to get his way through. Drayden's going to get him. That's another point to the Knights. They will jump up another place over the Red Canids. They're right behind Ghost Gaming now, as there's a lot of mobility here available if you're in the middle of the leaderboard.
Well, really, what's interesting about Minas is the verticality that comes into play for a lot of these guys. You can see depending on your position, you're on a high ground from a different spot. And really, it's Knights up at the top of everything, looking back down, but they don't have the best sight lines due to how the buildings lay out. So that's kind of putting a lot of pressure over towards Athletico, towards Ghost, and trying to figure out how they're going to try to contain or deal with FaZe and these other guys that are trying to encroach in these buildings.
Ghost Gaming has been sticking with the 2 bolt-action rifles, Matt, and we've seen the Mini play such a massive role. Talking to these players, they will tell you that the Mini is just an efficient kill-stealing machine, and to see Ghost Gaming running 2 bolt-action rifles, maybe that's been a bit of an issue for them. That's something to really revisit if you're getting issues with either finishing your kills, because people will steal those right out from under you. Even if you hit that nice bolt-action headshot, if someone gets that Mini out and takes that kill, you get nothing for it.
I mean, even at this position we're looking at with Drassel right now, he has that side angle with it. If he was running the DMR, he could have peppered a couple of shots in there, bought a little bit more space. Athletico, again, get circle favor. FaZe, not having to move. They still have that little bit of a ridge that they can play on, so it's going to be Ghost and Knights that are going to have to make the push back down to where Athletico is at.
Just a bit of a lull right now. Oh, Reels just I had Balak just like, hey, is that a guy looking at me? And yes, indeed it was. Balak gets forced off. And again, the difference between the DMR and the bolt action, you can win those aim battles. This is high level play, ladies and gentlemen. If you give any peeks whatsoever, you will get punished. And you kind of have to wait a little bit longer with the bolt action rifle. Whereas with the DMR, you can kind of peek in and out, hit a shot here and there, just pick away at your target. But it's just time wasted. And you can see a Zoidmate on the flip side. Every time he sees someone, he's getting more damage, forcing the meds, eroding armor.
There are 17 people, 6 teams alive right now at this stage, and this is a very small circle. It's just the terrain and the buildings that's buying more space. So you can see everybody's kind of looking around, trying to find different angles. Each team that's trying to move is trying to figure out, okay, what's our safest vantage point? What's our safest push point that we can try to go with? Ghost is going to opt into going all the way down around the road. That could put them right next to Udyr, but actually could put them in the sight lines of FaZe. They're out in the open, and look at this. BuzzFace is just tearing them apart.
This is the DMR at work, ladies and gentlemen, and Ghost Gaming erased by FaZe.
That is the risk when you make that push back over there. Got to be so cautious. G2's Udyr still alive, trying to make the push himself. Looks like he managed to find a little bit of a spot he can carve out. But with a little bit of exchange, the gunfire going out, you can see everybody in Athletico trying to figure out what's going on. Singularity still alive at this stage. Managed to find a couple of nice spots to play from, but it's full defense from them.
FaZe has got a nice spread on the south side of the map. They've got great control. The nade's coming out now, looking for that nice nade onto the Udyr rather, as it will do some damage, but not enough to knock. And the smoke high arcing shot, like a circus. He's going to put some smoke down, but I don't know what the effect is going to be there. He's going to have to throw another one to try and cross, but the nades continue to land.
Ooh,
he can't move, and down he goes. Zoidmate picks up another.
Athletico's got this very tall building that they're making so much use from. They've got great sight lines to play with. Meanwhile, Singularity is still playing on the outside, right next to this wall. They've got Knights coming up right next to them, just bouncing around, trying to see if they can find any shots that they can take. Singularity cannot move a muscle, because if they do, Knights are just going to flank around the outside of that wall and take them down.
13 kills for FaZe. Still having Singularity on the map. They've got 0 kills, unfortunately. Pittsburgh has been doing a great job. They've got themselves 6, and Athletico is 7, so really now it's still a waiting game. Everyone's got a little bit of real estate to work with. FaZe in the open position. They're going to be waiting to let this this middle compound, maybe this next circle, go in their favor. They've set themselves up a nice position to move. Zoidmate spots one of the FaZe members. I think that was Mixie.
Yes, he's the front man for them right now, playing back towards the center, trying to buy a little bit more space so that way Uba can sneak forward, get across that road, which could be a very dangerous reposition coming out. FaZe is playing back over towards the east, looking back on the other side of Athletico. Really, it feels like everybody's starting to focus their attention back towards them. No surprise with as loud as they've been. Knights looking that direction, FaZe looking that direction. And with this, Singularity could have a chance to sneak back up behind this and do a lot of damage to these teams.
They are going to go around the back, which is the wise choice. I think they know that there's someone on the northern side, or no, on the southern side, I should say. But meanwhile, the Knights are looking that direction. They're going to spot one. No damage coming down, but I think that was a barrel I just heard. Yes, indeed. And Singularity's going to live just a little bit longer. Meanwhile, FaZe getting into it with the Knights.
That's the problem. When you take a shot and FaZe is on the move, they're just going to spin back around towards it. Grenade's going to bounce back over there right next to Drayden and take him down. Singularity's going to join in on the fun. Knights taking a lot of damage. They only have 1 member up and alive right now, and it's Wanted trying to get the res back over towards Narc, but Uba looks like he's wanting to be unrelenting in this push off to the side. Even if Knights moves back, they're going to move back over next to where Singularity's at.
Fuzz is off in the flanking position. I think he's just kind of monitoring what Atletico's doing right now, and these nades are getting closer and closer. I believe that's coming from Atletico, but we're in the final circle, Matt, and they did get a res, rather. Fuzzface got a great angle onto Luke. He's going to open up. He's going to get the down. Yes, he will, and that's critical for FaZe.
That was their low man guy. You can see everybody from Athletico was trying to get somebody back down towards the ground so that way they can reposition around the circle point where everything's going to just condense back down towards the middle. Now it's going to be very rough for Athletico to make their way back through this. Really, Fuzzface is holding back everything that Athletico can do by himself right now with a little bit of help from Singularity on the other side.
Fuzz has really become, I would say, probably the strongest player on this team of superstar level players, and they are going to push to 15 kills.
Look at this, Fuzzface just holding the line. Meanwhile, Uba, Mixie still playing along that outside wall. It's all going to come down to how Knights, and we're going to see Singularity go for their move off of this Fuzzface, looking back over to where Zoidmate might be at. Now Zoidmate's trying to get back down towards the ground. We talked about it. It's very dangerous from here on out.
The center position is closest to Atletico, but the flexibility of FaZe, the vision they have, and now Schnark's going to take down Panday, and Fuzz is going to go down as well. Massive there for Atletico, and now they're on the move. 7 kills for this Australian squad.
So he's trying to capitalize off of this. The moment you hear any firefight, you have to try to make a move off of it. Use it for some form of cover. Singularity, Riblock's trying to get a couple of shots off, but Atletico's going to deny it. And that drops us down to just 3 different teams. Narc trying to get the res back over towards Wanted. Meanwhile, Zoidmate taking a couple of shots back over towards FaZe Clan.
Uba's just unleashing with that 4-time spray, looking for the single tap, runs out of ammo, can't get the down, and now it's just a bit of a waiting game. The circle continues to close. 1:14 left on the clock. Even though Wanted did go down, I believe he got the res, still too strong for Pittsburgh Knights.
Don't forget, Fuzzface went down off to the side for FaZe Clan, so they're just having to funnel into this spot.
Blue.
There's nowhere for Knights to go as they get taken down, and that drops us down to FaZe Clan versus Athletico.
Down.
Looking back across this, Zoidmate goes down as well. You can see the spray off to the side of it, and look at that. That's going to be Atletico with 11 kills.
Beautiful execution there at the end of that game. Atletico is stating to the world right now that we are one of the best, and we have to be treated as such. Another victory here.
I gotta say, the Aussies are showing up today. Strong performances coming out. And let's be honest, that's against FaZe Clan. Sure, you get a little bit of circle favor, but we talked about it. They were all in these high ground spots that you had to move down to the ground, and you had to fight around it. And that's Knights, Singularity, and FaZe Clan that were all just out for their blood.
Shout out to Singularity for their survival. I mean, they didn't pick up much, if any, kills there. I think they maybe got 1 or 2 towards the end. But they have shown that they can at least survive long enough. But I think that was still, like, Atletico wins that game, but FaZe was the story, I believe, as they were picking up an absolute ton of kills. Didn't see where they wound up with, but it was higher than 15, and that is a huge performance for them as they are right now behind Liquid.
People talk about FaZe Sunday. Screw that. We're on FaZe Saturday right now. They don't even care anymore. They just want to murder anything that moves next to them.
It's been really fun to watch. I mean, they obviously played very well at PEL, and now they're here, showing that they are still one of the best. But it's been, oh man, the story has been Athletico. Like, this is the team that, we saw the rankings. Everyone was like, oh man, look at Athletico, top 3, I doubt it. But this is a complete a flip of that script. I'm thoroughly impressed with how they've been playing.
And they are absolutely fun to watch as well. The way that these guys move, the way that so many people on their team can just kill. So many, like we see them holding angles by themselves, and they were forcing so many of these teams to fight each other before they could move into their location. And that's what you have to do when you have control over the center of the circle.
Amazing. And Miramar is such an interesting map to watch unfold because there's just these high-low positions like around the mines. What a fun spot because there's just so much maneuverability. Yeah. FaZe's map control on the southern side, I almost would have liked to see them condense a little bit and maybe try and take that one-to-one fight, but Fuzzface, he's their flanker. He likes to set up in these little neat spots and do damage. And while he got taken down, that would have been a nice bit of control for Athletico trying to come down out of their perch. And you saw it there, Matt. Once you lose that flanker, it's a little bit difficult to win, but so many kills can come.
Well, we can't do an interview with one member of Athletico. Rachel's down there with the whole team of Athletico, so please give us a breakdown on what happened in that last round.
Well, here's the thing, Matchroom. I was talking to Extreme last time Athletico won, and I was like, yeah, next time just bring the whole team down. So thanks for that. Are they all excited to be here to do this interview?
Probably not.
Well, you did good work bringing them anyway, and you guys had a great game. As we moved into the mines, you guys crashed into C9. You did a lot of damage to a lot of teams. Talk to me about your thought moving into the mines.
I mean, we had a couple options, holding edge or just sending it into the mines, and we figured we'd send it. Big tournament requires big plays. It worked out. It was so sketchy, but it worked out. And then we just kind of got control of the buildings that were surprisingly free, and then we just held out every team from then on.
Now talk to me about getting control of these buildings. This is no easy feat, because moving into the mines, we have a lot of verticality, we have a lot of cover that people can be working behind. How do you overcome that as a team?
You kind of just pull up together, really. You clear it all together, and you just trade. But it was all free, so it was kind of easy.
Yeah, you guys did find yourselves at the center of a couple circles, but it takes a lot of skill to turn that into your favor to keep that, because you have every team crashing in onto you. What's communication like in these key moments? How do you stay alive as a team?
We were just really focusing on what our threats were, so we were just making sure everyone knew what we had to watch, and basically just holding angles and making sure that everyone had their angles, and once we knew all our angles, we won.
You know your angles like an Instagram girl. You guys are making me proud, doing a lot of work here. Now, I want some insights into the Oceanic region. In the intro today, I was wondering if one of our teams from LATAM or Oceania were going to come up here and establish themselves at the top of our leaderboards. You've managed to do that. So now, representing the Oceanic region, what can you tell me about them?
We're quite a strong region. We produce quite some strong players, so I'm really happy that we're performing here, to be honest. Yeah.
And what do you want to add about the Oceanic region? A lot of players coming from there. You guys are an incredible squad. Been together a little while. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I only joined recently. Extreme and the others have been playing together for ages. But yeah, I think we had a rough start, but we found our groove. Got a 200-point lead in pro circuit. Like, we just found how to play together, and it's working really well, even on the international stage.
Well, I'm happy to see you up here competing and winning on the international stage. Anything you want to say to all the PUBG fans watching at home?
Yeah, of course. I mean, thanks for watching PUBG. It's growing, and tournaments like this, tournament organizers like GLL help out. And then I guess, yeah, one more shout out to all the people in the OC region watching us in their viewing party. It means the world, so thank you.
Fantastic. Victories like yours help grow it too, so thank you all so much for a game like that. Let's send it up to the casters, take another look at it.
Thank you, Rachel and Athletico, for that interview. You guys tried to do a little Aussie.
We did. I don't think they heard us.
They didn't react on it.
It was depressing.
Great cast from Matchroom and Moses as well. We'll see them shortly for our final match of the day. But let's break down what we just saw. Athletico got the overall W, but FaZe Clan, they cracked that rather rare kill number that we spoke about on the first day. 16 frags on that map.
They joined the elite 16K club. It's not easy to get that number. We saw a lot of 14s close to that. 15-ish happens quite a bit in games, but killing a fourth of the lobby is not the easiest thing in the world to accomplish. So a big shout out to them.
Yeah, especially not with the kind of teams you have here, some of the best around the world.
And I'll also say this, generally when I've sort of been tracking the 16K for a while, it almost always comes with the win because of the extra sort of bonus kills you get for winning. The fact they got second place and still put 16 in the bank is very, very impressive. But again, Athletico gets first place again and again. They take FaZe down in order to do it.
Yeah, Athletico with 2 chickens there, Patrick.
I wasn't expecting them to win this game, actually. Seeing them towards the end there, they were way too spread out. They're a little bit too greedy, in my opinion. But they did manage to group up towards the end. And FaZe Clan was looking really strong with their splits there. They had a 2-1 split, and then that one changed to a 1-2 split. They just back and forth wanted to have the control.
Excited to see where the result from that match puts our overall standings. Before we get into that, though, let's head downstairs to Toby for our breakdown.
Thank you, Paula. Crazy game, 16 kills for FaZe and 2 wins for Athletico. And it all starts at the pub of the 4th circle. We see FaZe on the southern side, Rumblers down there with them. Here we go, hard shift down south. We have a lot of teams up north that now have quite a journey to make. And that's not an easy run, because it's not just a straight run down through Minas. Nope, you have a huge hillside here, which is practically impossible to cross. You need to make your way around on either side. FaZe realized this could be a threat towards them. If we go in and look here, we have a road going through the middle. This becomes a splitting point pretty much, and you can see immediately Tempo Storm crossing down. Normally you don't necessarily mind teams being somewhat close towards you, but FaZe, look at this, immediately sending players down to prevent. They know if we are going to make any plays from the southern side of the road, we need all the space in the world. We cannot be peeking in towards Minas if we have guys sitting right next to us just waiting to engage. And also, should we eventually be forced to make that push on up towards Minas, we need to have a clear run forward. We need to be focusing on the teams ahead of us, not running side by side with Rumblers or Tempo Storm. So they activate fragging mode. We can see a little kill feed, a little clip of that in the feed right here. I mean, this is what they're looking into. Either you crash into the city, and arguably this is even earlier in the game. Look at the concentration of players already here. There's no way that you're running in there on foot. There's no way you're crashing it. And FaZe knew it. We have to stay on the southern side and make sure that no other teams can get in, because it is busy. There is nothing you can do if you're from the southern side. You need to stay down there, hope for shifts to continue to go your way, and if they don't, well, you need to make some room for yourself. FaZe, they managed to clear not only Tempo Storm, but also Rumblers, and had a really, really smart split in the end of things. So you can see it right here. Once they got the teams eliminated, as Frost very well correctly said, they go up north and they position themselves on this side, because now they know we have no one to worry about beneath us. We can focus on what's ahead of us, and that's a 16 kill second place. That's it for me, Paula. Back to you.
Thank you, Toby. Very effective play from FaZe. Guys, the scoreboard is ready, so let's get that up, and then afterwards move into our overall leaderboard. 22 points for FaZe Clan. No, that should be more than 22 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It should be much more than 22 points.
Yep.
They got second place and 16. Yeah. No, it'd be 30-something, right?
I say it's never good to do math.
Yeah, either way, I think they're on a bit more than that. I'm not entirely sure, guys. I don't mean to throw everyone for a loop. Anyway, Athletico in second, Pittsburgh Knights in third, Ghost in fourth, G2 in fifth. Any surprises there? Maybe Na'Vi slowing down a bit again. Liquid with 2 points.
I mean, we saw Spacestation and Liquid being some of the top teams coming into today. But look at it, today they haven't been performing at all. We see Spacestation Gaming coming in with very long rotations. It's not paying off because they're way too late to come into the circle.
Now, again, I think we finally figured out the confusion.
Yeah, it's
because FaZe got second, but they still got first because of the kill counts.
Yeah.
So we'll put those numbers together. We always think like whoever's in the lead must have taken the chicken dinner home, but they didn't. Overall standings, though, Athletico moves up to first place.
Yeah, they've done it. Oceania at the top there in first place. They've progressed 2 points up the ladder. FaZe Clan also progressing 2 points up into second. G2 in third. Team Liquid now in fourth. And slightly down the ladder.
Athletico.
Atletico.
#1 right now.
Yeah, no, I'm very impressed. I want to point out the top 3 teams in that lobby killed over half of everyone who dropped out of the airplanes. So those are big number pickups for them. Luke 12 still absolutely dominating with 25 in his pocket. Chris climbing with 19. I think Mixie, Chris, James, Uba, these are guys that we're used to seeing being the top fraggers and always fighting for it. And I think that they're not so happy that OCE has come in here and showing them up with this 25 kill leadership.
Well, there's just one thing to do then. Step it up.
That's what they're doing. I mean, Chris wasn't even on the leaderboard this morning, right? He came here not on the top 5. Now he's #2, but I love that Luke was like, not today. He saw the last grouping. He saw that he was 2 away, and he said, I'm having a big game. I'm getting another win in our pocket, and they did it. Because you remember, we watched. We thought they were playing for second for a little while there. The way they were sort of spread holding the mine compounds, they came out on top. They collapsed at the right time. They're playing expertly well and very confident.
Patrick, please, final point with you.
This is quite interesting to have them in the top right now because they're comfortable sitting there on the top, being chased by the others. They know what it feels like, and they know how to just keep that spot.
Yeah, I'm a little worried, though. I mean, remember, whoever wins gets an extra spot for their region. Now, Atletico's playing so well, I think they might get some offers from other regions. Their players may have to distribute a little bit. And then who are the 2 teams that go for OCE when we talk about the global championships?
Yeah, very good.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good point to raise. Remember, not just $300,000 on the line here. For the best performing region, they will earn themselves an extra spot at the PUBG Regional Championship, correct?
PUBG Global
Championship. There we go. All right, everybody. One more match to go here on day 2. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back with that after this break.